All right, so we are diving headfirst into the world of TikTok today. I mean, everyone is trying to crack the code to grow their account.
And maybe even make some cash while they're at it.
Oh, yeah, who doesn't love a little side hustle income?
Yeah.
So our source material today is this guide called How to Grow Your TikTok Account and Earn Money. Easy tricks. And
It's a pretty good starting point.
it's packed with info. But before we get into that, I got to say this TikTok thing, it just came out of nowhere, right?
It seems like it.
It's like the wild west of social media right now.
Oh, yeah. And things change so fast on that platform.
Oh, tell me about it.
Yeah.
It's like every time I log in, there's a new dance, a new trend, a new
New everything?
everything. But hey, that's what keeps things interesting, right? So this guy we're looking at today, the first thing it really stresses is optimizing your profile.
Which makes sense.
Yeah, it seems basic, but
It really is the foundation of everything.
yeah, you got to start somewhere, right?
Think about it like this. Your profile is your storefront on TikTok.
I like that analogy.
If you walk into a store and the sign is all wonky and you can't even tell what they're selling.
And like the lights are flickering.
Exactly. Are you going to go in? Probably not.
Yeah, you're just going to keep walking. You're going to be like, what is even going on in there?
Right. So on TikTok, if your profile picture is blurry and your bio is just a jumbled mess of random words,
People are going to scroll right past.
they are, and they should. You want to make a good first impression?
So the guide really emphasizes a clear profile picture so people instantly know who you are.
And a bio that does more than just list facts. Let your personality shine through. Give people a reason to hit that follow button.
Right? It's like a mini elevator pitch for your whole TikTok vibe.
Exactly. Hook them with your personality and what you're all about.
Okay, so we got the profile looking sharp, but now what about content? I mean, that's got to be the heart of TikTok, right?
Absolutely. Content is king. And this guide, it really stresses finding your niche.
Oh yeah, the good old niche.
It's not about being everything to everyone.
Right, you can't please everyone.
You can't. It's about finding your tribe, the people who are genuinely interested in what you have to offer.
So like instead of trying to appeal to everyone, I need to figure out what makes ME unique.
Exactly. What are you passionate about? What do you know a lot about? What's your special sauce?
I mean, I love to bake, but maybe vegan baking is where things get interesting.
There you go. That's a great example.
Right, because there are a million baking accounts out there.
But vegan baking, that narrows it down.
It's a niche within a niche.
Exactly. You're not just another baker on TikTok. You're the go-to for those amazing plant-based creations.
Ooh, like that.
Okay.
Okay, so find that sweet spot where your passions and expertise meet.
Yes.
Got it. But now, the million-dollar question. How do I actually figure out what that niche is?
Well, there are a few ways. TikTok itself is a great place to start. Use the search bar, check out relevant hashtags,
See what's already out there.
see what's working for others. You can also use third-party tools for keyword research and competitor analysis.
Fancy.
But the most important thing is to think about what you're excited to share.
Right, because if I'm not passionate about it, it's going to show. Right.
100%. Your audience can feel that authenticity.
Okay, I'm feeling fired up. But now let's talk about keeping up with the content beast.
Yes. Consistency.
How much am I supposed to be posting without losing my mind?
That's the question, isn't it? The guide suggests aiming for 3 to 5 times a week.
But that seems like a lot.
It can be. And that's just a starting point.
Right, because I've got a life outside of TikTok.
Exactly. You've got to find a rhythm that works for your life.
Because burning out is not an option.
It's not. You know what I found helpful? Batch creating content.
What's that?
Setting aside a few hours to film a bunch of TikToks at once.
Ooh, like a TikTok production day. I like that.
It can be game changer.
Okay, so we've got awesome content in our niche. We're posting consistently now. How do we get people to actually see it? Tell me about these magical hashtags.
Hashtags. They're like the secret sauce of discoverability.
Everyone's always talking about them, but I'm still not sure I fully understand.
Well, think of them like signposts on TikTok. They guide people to your content.
Okay, so it's not just throwing random words in there and hoping for the best.
Not quite. The guide recommends a mix of trending and niche hashtags.
Oh, I see. So it's about finding that balance.
Yes. It's like a Venn diagram.
I love a good Venn diagram.
You want that overlap where you're reaching a broad audience with those trending hashtags.
But also targeting people specifically interested in your niche.
Exactly.
So like hashtag food TikTok might be super popular, but I'd also want to use hashtag vegan baking.
And maybe even get more specific, like hashtag gluten-free vegan baking if that's what you do.
It's like casting a wide net, but also making sure you're showing up in the right searches.
Exactly. That's the hashtag game.
Okay, I'm starting to get it. Now this next part, is really exciting to me, collaborating with other creators. What's the deal with duets and shout-outs?
Collaboration is where the magic happens.
It's like teaming up to take over TikTok.
It can be. The source mentions duets and shout-outs, and those are fantastic ways to tap into other creators' audiences.
So it's like borrowing someone else's audience for a bit.
In a way, yes. It's about cross-promotion, introducing your content to a whole new group of people.
But how do I find the right collaborators? Should I just go for the ones with the most followers?
Follower count is important, but it's not the only factor. Remember authenticity.
Oh, right. That word keeps coming up.
It's crucial. You want to collaborate with creators who align with your values, with your style.
People who genuinely vibe with my content.
Exactly. You're looking for quality connections, not just numbers.
I'm picking up on a theme here. Quality over quantity. It's about finding your tribe within the vast TikTok universe.
It is.
All right, collaborations check. Now let's talk about data. Analytics used to scare me, but I'm starting to see their power.
Data is your friend.
It's like having a secret weapon.
It tells you what's working and what's not, so you're not just guessing.
I'm all about taking the guesswork out of it.
The source talks about using TikTok's analytics tools.
And those are pretty cool.
They are incredibly valuable. You can get even deeper insights with third-party platforms, though.
Ooh, tell me more. What kind of insights?
Think about metrics like watch time, audience demographics, engagement rate.
Okay, and that tells me.
It tells you who's watching, how long they're watching, and how much they're interacting with your content.
So it's like a conversation with my audience?
Exactly. You can see what they're into and create more of that.
Which ultimately helps me grow.
Precisely. Data-driven decision-making is key on TikTok.
Okay, data got it. Now, for the question everyone wants to know the answer to, how do we actually make money on TikTok?
This is where things get interesting. The guide outlines several monetization strategies,
Ooh, lay it on me.
each with its own pros and cons.
Of course there are cons. There's always a catch.
But the first one I'll talk about is the TikTok Creator Fund.
Okay, I've heard of that.
Have you?
I have, but I don't really know how it works.
Well, think of it like a bonus for consistently creating engaging content.
So TikTok is actually paying creators.
They are. They share a portion of their revenue with eligible creators.
And it's based on.
Video performance, how many views you're getting, likes, shares.
So the more engagement I get, the more I can potentially earn.
That's the idea. But of course, there's a catch. You need at least 10,000 followers and 100,000 video views in the last 30 days to qualify.
10,000 followers. That's a decent amount.
It is, so it's not like you can just post one viral video and cash in overnight.
It takes consistent effort.
Consistency, there's that word again.
It's the theme of the day.
It really is the key to success on TikTok.
So the Creator Fund is more like a long game, a way to generate passive income once you've built a solid foundation.
Exactly.
Okay, that makes sense. But what about brand deals? Everyone's always talking about influencer marketing. How does that work on TikTok?
Brand partnerships can be very lucrative.
Ooh, I'm listening.
But the guide is cautious here.
I bet, because there are a lot of scams out there.
There are, and even if it's not a scam, it might not be the right fit.
Right, you don't want to just promote anything.
Exactly. The guide stresses authenticity.
There's that word again.
Only partner with brands that genuinely align with your niche and your values.
I mean, I know I unfollow people when it feels like their feed is just one giant ad.
People can spot a fake a mile away.
So don't sell out for a quick buck.
Don't. It's not worth it.
So brand deals are like a relationship. You need to have clear communication and boundaries.
Absolutely. You need a clear contract. You need to understand the scope of the partnership, the payment terms.
It sounds kind of complicated.
It can be, but if you do your research and find the right partners, it can be a very rewarding experience.
Okay, so it's not just about saying yes to every offer that comes your way.
Definitely not. Be selective. Choose brands that you genuinely believe in and that resonate with your audience.
Now, what about selling merch? I see creators rocking their own hoodies and t-shirts all the time. Is that a viable option?
It can be, but the guide is realistic here. It emphasizes that merch works best when you've already built a strong brand identity.
Right, because who wants to buy a t-shirt with my face on it if they don't even know who I am?
Exactly. You need a dedicated following, those superfans who are invested in your journey.
So it's about fostering those deep connections with your audience.
It is. It's about creating a community that wants to rep your brand.
Merch is like the next level of fan love.
I like that it is.
Okay, what about live streaming? Is that another way to make money on TikTok?
It can be. The guide points out that viewers can send virtual gifts during live sessions.
Ooh, like digital tips.
Exactly. Those gifts can be converted into real cash.
So it's like a virtual tip jar. People are literally throwing money at their screen.
That's the idea. It's a way for your most dedicated fans to show their support directly.
I love that. Speaking of modern day, the guide mentions not treating TikTok like an island. What does that mean?
It means thinking beyond TikTok, using it as a springboard to grow your presence on other platforms.
Cross-promotion.
Exactly.
I love it.
Yeah.
But how do I actually do that effectively?
Well, first things first, make sure you're linking to your other profiles in your TikTok bio.
That's prime real estate.
It is. And then get creative. Use calls to action in your videos. Encourage people to follow you on other platforms.
Give them a reason to check you out elsewhere.
Exactly.
So it's like creating this interconnected web of content, all leading back to my main hub.
Precisely.
Wow, we've covered a lot of ground. It feels like we've just scratched the surface, but I feel like I'm already learning so much. What are the key takeaways you want our listeners to walk away with so far?
I'd say consistency, authenticity, and data-driven decisions. Those are the pillars of success on TikTok.
And don't forget the power of collaboration and cross-promotion.
Yes. It's about taking a holistic approach to your TikTok journey.
But before we move on, I want to go back to something you mentioned earlier, authenticity. It seems like that's the heartbeat of everything on TikTok.
It really is.
How can our listeners tap into their authentic selves and let that shine through?
It starts with self-awareness. Ask yourself, what are your passions? What makes you unique? What do you want to share with the world?
It's about embracing those things that make you you.
Exactly. Embrace your quirks, your humor, your perspective. That's what makes you stand out.
Because weird is wonderful.
It is. Celebrate your uniqueness because that's what people will connect with.
Don't be afraid to be yourself.
Exactly.
I love that. This has been such an insightful deep dive so far. But before we wrap up this first part, I want to hear your final thoughts. What's one key takeaway you want our listener to really remember as we head into the rest of this deep dive?
If I had to distill it down to one essential point, it would be this. Don't just try to fit in on TikTok. Stand out.
Ooh, I love that. Stand out. But how do we do that in such a crowded space?
By being unapologetically yourself. Bring your unique perspective, your passions, your quirks, your humor, your everything to the platform.
Because there's only one you.
Exactly. And that's your superpower.
Okay, that is seriously inspiring advice. But now I'm curious, what's one thing you wish you knew when you first started creating content? Something you wish someone had told you back then?
That's a good question. I think I would tell my younger self to worry less about perfection and focus more on experimentation.
Oh, the pressure to be perfect. I feel that.
Especially when you're first starting out.
It can be paralyzing.
But the truth is, the best way to learn and grow is to just put yourself out there.
Even if it's a little messy.
Even if it's imperfect, don't be afraid to try new things, make mistakes, and iterate as you go.
So embrace the mess. I love that. Because that's where the magic happens, right?
Exactly. And the more you create, the more comfortable you'll become with the process and the more your unique voice will shine through.
This has been such a fantastic deep dive so far. I feel like I've got a whole new arsenal of TikTok knowledge and a renewed sense of creative inspiration. But before we move on to the next part of our deep dive, I want to leave our listener with one final provocative thought. Think about this. What unique value can you bring to TikTok that nobody else can?
What story do you want to tell? What perspective do you have to share? What impact do you want to make?
Because the world needs your voice.
And TikTok might just be the perfect platform to amplify it.
So what are you waiting for? Go create something amazing. We'll be right back after a short break to continue our TikTok deep dive.
It really is a game changer. Once you hit those eligibility requirements, it can be a nice little bonus for your efforts.
So it's not going to make me rich, but it's a nice little perk.
Definitely not a get-rich-quick scheme, but, every little bit helps, right?
Right. Okay, so the Creator Fund is kind of a long game, but what about brand deals? I feel like everyone's talking about influencer marketing these days.
Brand partnerships can be very lucrative,
But there's always
but you gotta be careful.
Yeah, I feel like there are so many scams out there.
There are, and even if it's not a scam, it might not be the right fit for you.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
You don't want to just be promoting anything and everything that comes your way.
Exactly. This guide really stresses the importance of authenticity when it comes to brand deals.
Authenticity. It's like the word of the day.
It's crucial. You only want to partner with brands that genuinely align with your niche and your values.
Right, because your audience can totally tell when you're faking it.
Oh yeah, they can smell it a mile away.
So don't sell out for a quick buck.
No, don't do it.
Okay, so brand deals are kind of like a relationship.
In a way, yeah.
You need to have clear communication and boundaries.
Absolutely. And the guide emphasizes having a clear contract so you understand the scope of the partnership, the payment terms, usage rights for your content.
Makes sense.
Don't just blindly say yes to every offer that comes your way.
Be picky.
Be picky.
Sure.
Exactly.
Now, what about selling merch? I see creators rocking their own hoodies and t-shirts all the time. Is that a viable option?
It can be. But again, the guide is very realistic here.
It's all about managing expectations.
It is. The guide emphasizes that merch really only works if you've already built a strong brand identity.
Right, because who's going to buy a t-shirt with my face on it if they don't even know who I am?
Exactly. You need those diehard fans,
The super fans.
the super fans who are invested in your journey and want to represent your brand.
It's like taking your community to the next level.
It is. It's a way for them to show their support and for you to potentially build another revenue stream.
Okay, so merch is cool, but you got to earn it.
You got to earn it.
All right, what about live streaming? I see creators going live all the time. Is that another way to make money on TikTok?
Live streaming is a great way to connect with your audience in real time.
Yeah, it's like that instant feedback.
And it can also be monetized. The guide points out that viewers can send virtual gifts during live sessions.
Ooh, like digital tips. So people are literally throwing money at their screens.
Well, they're throwing digital gifts, which then translate into real cash.
So it's like a virtual tip jar.
It is. It's a way for your most dedicated fans to show their support directly.
I love that. Okay, so we've talked about all the different ways to actually make money on TikTok, but the guide also mentions not treating TikTok like an island. What does that mean?
It means thinking beyond TikTok, using it as a springboard to grow your presence on other platforms.
Cross-promotion, I love that. But how do I actually do that effectively?
Well, the first thing is to make sure you're linking to your other profiles in your TikTok bio.
That's prime real estate, right?
It is. And then get creative. Use calls to action in your videos. Encourage people to follow you on other platforms for exclusive content, behind-the-scenes stuff, whatever you have to offer.
Give them a reason to click that link.
Exactly. You want to create this interconnected web of content, all leading back to your main hub, whether that's your website, Instagram, YouTube, whatever you're using.
It's all about building that online empire.
It is. TikTok is just one piece of the puzzle.
I love that analogy. Okay, so we've talked about the importance of authenticity, finding your niche, creating great content, and even how to make some money from all your hard work. What's one thing you wish you had known when you were first starting out? Something you wish someone had told you back then?
I think I'd tell my younger self to embrace the power of storytelling.
Ooh, storytelling. I love that. Everyone loves a good story, right? But how does that translate to TikTok, where everything's so fast-paced and bite-sized?
It's all about finding ways to weave narratives into even the shortest videos. Think about hooks that grab attention, build suspense, create emotional connections.
So it's not just about showing off a cool dance move or a delicious recipe. It's about creating a mini story that draws people in.
Exactly. Even a 15-second video can have a beginning, a middle, and an end. It can evoke emotions, spark curiosity, leave people wanting more.
I'm starting to see how powerful that can be. It's about taking those everyday moments and turning them into something captivating, something that resonates with people.
And TikTok allows you to be so creative with your storytelling. You can play with different formats, use text overlays and voiceovers, experiment with different genres like mini documentaries or comedic skits.
It's like having a whole film studio in your pocket.
It is. The possibilities are endless.
Okay, that is so inspiring. I feel like I have a whole new perspective on TikTok now. It's not just about trends and dances. It's about connecting with people through the power of story.
Exactly. And that's what makes it such a special platform.
Well, on that note, I think it's time to wrap up this incredible deep dive. It's been an absolute pleasure exploring the ins and outs of TikTok with you.
The pleasure was all mine. I always enjoy these conversations.
And to our amazing listener, we hope this deep dive has equipped you with the knowledge and inspiration to take your TikTok journey to the next level. Remember, be authentic, be bold, be creative, and most importantly, have fun. I feel like we just gave everyone out there a masterclass in TikTok.
Yeah, all the tools they need to get out there and make some amazing content.
Exactly. You know what I've really learned today? TikTok is more than just dances and silly trends.
Oh, sure. It's so much more than that.
It's a real opportunity to connect with people, to build a community.
And maybe even a business.
Right. Like who do you can make a living off of 15-second videos?
It's wild, isn't it?
It is. Well, on that note, I think it's time to wrap up this epic TikTok deep dive.
I agree, we've covered a lot of ground.
We have. It's been so much fun exploring the ins and outs of TikTok with you.
Likewise, always a pleasure to chat about this stuff.
And to our amazing listener, we hope this deep dive has given you the knowledge and inspiration to take your TikTok game to the next level. Remember, be authentic, be bold, be creative.
And most importantly, have fun.
Couldn't have said it better myself. Thanks for joining us on this TikTok adventure. We'll see you next time for another deep dive.